Hey, Blue Jays fans, welcome back to Jays Center. Ethan and Brandon here once again to talk about everything going on with this Blue Jays postseason run. Obviously, it's been a great start to it. Two blowouts of the Yankees. The offense has been on fire. Starting pitching's been excellent. And now we're heading to game three. Obviously, in Yankee Stadium this time, heading to New York to a very hostile crowd. Obviously, the Yankees are now playing on the brink of elimination, so you can be sure to expect their best. But I'll pass it off to Ethan to talk about, sort of his thoughts heading into game three.
Yeah, things are really fired up now. I have a lot of positives I want to talk about and a lot of kind of worries I want to talk about. Let's start with the worries first so we can get those out of the way. I have two really big ones, and Brandon, I'll get your thoughts about them. The first is that, as Brandon mentioned, we're going to Yankee Stadium. We're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. So as always, there's always a home turf advantage when you're playing at your home stadium, and Yankee Stadium is one of these places where, tensions are always high. So I think that's going to play a huge role for the Blue Jays. At the same time, that might also heat us up, We're coming off a really good streak here of two amazing games. I mean, I think our score is going to speak for ourselves. But I want to also kind of pass that a little bit to game two. They're, 13-7. It's not a bad score, but the Yankees kind of came back a little bit. The Yankees are one of the best, teams in baseball, or at least in my opinion, they are. They're not the best team, but they have a reputation to uphold. They made it to the World Series last year. They can still come back. Their first game was an absolute disaster, but again, they're on their home turf now. They were able to make a comeback in the last few innings of our last game against them. So my argument here is what's stopping them from taking over at this point and, completely turning things around. What are your thoughts on that, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, again, the game was out of hand when the Yankees made their comeback. There was no real threat to the Blue Jays. But yeah, it's a good point that, it's just some momentum because their offense was completely shut down through the first 15 innings or so of this series. I mean, they had nothing going. And so obviously, it's a little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum that, hey, like we're still the Yankee, we still have Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger and all these other guys. So again, that doesn't necessarily like really freak me out. Again, the game was so far out of hand, and the Blue Jays were kind of just using some of their lesser arms in the bullpen to get through the rest of the game. But it's worth keeping in mind for sure. Obviously, if the Yankees come out hot in game three, I mean, that's certainly something worth pointing to. I think the more concerning thing is definitely playing on the road. Obviously, Yankee Stadium's a very, hostile place to play. It's worth pointing out the Blue Jays were the best home team in baseball in the regular season. They were 54 and 27 at home. They were below 500. They were 40 and 41 on the road. I mean, this is not a great road team. Obviously, they're great at home. We saw that in the first game of the series. But the Yankees are going to have a really big advantage, especially, the way the starting pitching's lining up for them, where they're going to have Carlos Rodon pitching in game three, and then we assume Cam Schlittler, the rookie who dominated the Red Sox in game four. So this is going to be two very, very tough games for the Blue Jays. It's obviously the Yankees are on the brink of elimination right now, but it doesn't mean they're just going to roll over. These are the reigning AL pennant winners. So there's definitely like let's pause ourselves, let's breathe, like nothing's over yet. But obviously it's hard to imagine this series starting better. Like, the Blue Jays are up 2-0. Worst comes to worst, they're going to get one more game at home to try to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, there's not like a huge amount of worry. Again, I'm always a nervous Nelly here when it comes to this kind of stuff. It's definitely a nail biter considering that we're one game away from the Yankees getting an elimination, which would be incredible considering that, again, going from the World Series second place, but to
Mhm.
kicking the can and having the Blue Jays move to the next slot would be an incredible feat for Blue Jays fans everywhere and the Blue Jays nonetheless. I'm also just very confident that players like Anthony Santander, like Shane Bieber, like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., of course, can hold their own when it comes to going to Yankee Stadium and going up against these players.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. Obviously, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is a known Yankee killer. He's a known Yankee hater. That's why we all love him. Obviously, he's been terrific to start this series. I mean, he's had 6 hits in the first 2 games, 2 home runs. I mean, he's become the Yankees' kryptonite, which has been awesome to see. I think I'll talk about Shane Bieber. He's the expected starter for game three. He's obviously been pretty good since coming to the Blue Jays in that trade deadline deal. Obviously, he hadn't pitched for like a year and a half before that. He's certainly not, Cy Young 2020 Shane Bieber, but no one was expecting that. He's still a really quality starting pitcher. He had a 3.57 ERA in 40 innings with the Blue Jays. So I think it's worth keeping in mind that, the Blue Jays did use some of their bullpen guys in the first two games of the series, but they obviously, a lot of them are fresh because of how much of a blowout those games were. Jeff Hoffman, only pitched in game one. Yariel Rodriguez hasn't pitched at all. Brendan Little only pitched in game one. So, I mean, a lot of the higher quality relievers in the Blue Jays bullpen are going to be ready to go for game three. So you don't need Shane Bieber to go out there and give you 7 innings. You just need him to get through the order once or twice, put up a couple zeros, let the offense hopefully keep doing its thing that it's been doing, and that should put the Blue Jays in a really good position to win game three, or at least set themselves up to win game four, where potentially Kevin Gausman's going to go again, and reset the rotation. So again, it's total advantage to the Blue Jays with the way this series is broken so far. It's just worth keeping in mind that obviously Carlos Rodon's a really good pitcher, and especially at home. I mean, this is not going to be finishing off the Yankees is not going to be an easy task for them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. But as always, as we wait for this game to start, we would love to hear what you guys think. And as always, put your thoughts in the comment section below, and we will be responding to every single one.